Kyoto has an almost overwhelming number of souvenirs. However, just because something is sold in Kyoto does not necessarily mean that it's really Kyoto. You'll see tons of items covered in Mount Fuji, ninja, samurai, lucky cats, and cherry blossoms, which is fun, but you can usually find the same vibe in Tokyo, Osaka, or even at the airport. So, in this video, we are skipping the generic stuff and we are zeroing in on the souvenirs that feel genuinely Kyoto. Hi everyone, it's Abby
And Maddie
from Pictor, and let's get started. So, what's up first?
All right, first we have matcha.
Ooh, probably when most people think about Kyoto souvenirs, you would think about matcha and Japanese tea in general. But that said, for most travelers, I actually recommend picking up something more like this or tea bags instead of matcha powder, as I think many people don't really even understand what matcha is. If that sounds like you, I actually have a guide on matcha that might open up your world a little bit. All I have to say, matcha is not like instant coffee. You can't just pour hot water on it and expect it to disappear.
If you want to make traditional matcha at home, you'll usually need at least a bamboo whisk and a beginner set with the whisk, bowl, and scoop. That's often the easiest way to start. And so matcha powder is great if you already know what you're going to do with it and kind of know what you're doing in general. And if you do buy it, it's worth checking whether it's meant more for drinking or more for cooking and baking.
But they also do sell some matcha powder like this. So this is meant to mix with just water, with like a fork. So this is from Ito Kyuemon, and it's gonna sort of focus. Whose face do I cover? Super easy to make, and they make a both sweetened and unsweetened version. So you don't need a whisk, you don't need the bowl, you don't need special skills. If you just want to enjoy Japanese tea at home, you could get this. Or if you want tea, not matcha, you can also just get tea bags. So a really good starting point would be Ippudo has a tea assortment set that has gyokuro, sencha, and horicha. And you can try 3 different teas without committing to one big tin of tea that you may or may not ever use again.
And if you do want matcha, but you've never tried making it before, doing a tea ceremony or matcha experience first can help a lot. Once you know what it tastes like and how it's prepared, it's easier to pick up the right powder and tools.
My favorite stores in Kyoto for matcha, especially Uji Matcha, would be Ito Kyuemon, like I mentioned, Nakamura Tokichi, and then Marukyu, Koyamaen, and Ippudo. So the first 2 stores often have like lovely little cafes attached that have drinks and sweets, while Marukyu Koyamaen is especially prestigious and it's a favorite for tea ceremonies, and then Ippudo is just one of the oldest names in the game.
And by the way, you don't need to go all the way to Uji to buy tea. When I've been on the train recently, I've seen so many people going to Uji.
Yeah, they do. I'm like, you can buy it here.
Yeah, in fact, you don't even have to be in Kyoto. But it is more common in Kyoto. And besides the places that we just mentioned, even department stores and the depachika areas under big train stations have a lot of nice tea.
You might have noticed I also got this. This is not tea bags, this is a matcha relevant item. So don't forget to try to find matcha sweets while you're in Kyoto. So this is from Ito Kyuemon as well. And Ito Kyuemon has a lot of little like cheesecakes, cookies. They have their own collaboration actually with Kit Kat. You get a special extra matcha Kit Kat. And I got this. So this is the Uji Matcha Gâteau au chocolat. So matcha cake, basically. We're gonna eat these because I bought them and spent money on them, so let's eat them. Don't look at her.
Yeah, don't look at me.
Everything is so pretty here.
Yeah, that's one thing my mom always says when she comes to Japan. She's like, I would spend all my money here because everything's so cute.
Seriously, they really get you with the pretty and the cute, don't they?
Oh, there's like tiny spoons.
Teeny tiny spoons inside. So you have like 5 of these little things. It's like a shovel, it's not a spoon. Shovel this into my mouth. Ooh, this is my shovel. I may or may not have already eaten one, and I'd like to let you know there's a little piece of plastic on top of it that I tried to eat, so don't eat that. Here it is. Let's eat it. It's good. I'm so hungry. That was really good. It's very like matcha. It's very dense.
Yeah, I feel like this is a good treat for somebody who's like not super ultimately crazy about matcha because it has a really deep matcha flavor, but the sugar cuts it enough that it's not like, you know, some people say matcha tastes like grass.
Yeah, this doesn't taste anything like grass.
There's no grass in the room with us.
Yes. Definitely, like, if you want to enjoy matcha, maybe, but you do think maybe it's a little grassy, go for sweets.
One of Kyoto's most famous sweets is nama Yatsuhashi.
What is Yatsuhashi?
It's that soft, chewy rice flour, mochi-like sweet, usually folded around something like sweet red bean paste. The main thing to know is the shelf life can be pretty short. If you buy it at the beginning of a long Japan trip and you're planning to take it home weeks later, it's not going to make it. Always check the expiration date on the box, and usually when you buy them, the store employee will like say, "Is this okay?"
Correct, yes. So I think it's really good as like an eat it on the trip souvenir. Just get it, take it back to your hotel on the train, and then enjoy it rather than feel like you have to bring it home. Our personal pick is a store called Honkei Nishio Yatsuhashi, not only because they're kind of like the OG big boy, but because they have so many flavors, and you will encounter them everywhere in Kyoto. You truly, truly will. I usually go for the big assorted boxes because you can get more flavors that way. This is chocolate strawberry and chocolate banana, which is scrumptious. Pape's favorite flavor is chocolate banana, so he stands by that one. And then my favorite flavor would be the sesames, which are the white sesame and black sesame. Black sesame is phenomenal. But I also got matcha, because matcha is also kind of one of the OGs. Matcha with red bean, and then cinnamon and red bean are sort of the classic flavors, if you will. But if shelf life is very important to you, you can also try getting the hard baked version of Yatsuhashi instead. Whoop, there goes that. And these are basically just yummy rice crackers.
They look like roof tiles.
They do look like roof tiles. These are not roof tiles, they are rice crackers that taste like cinnamon, and they also have a matcha flavor. And the fun thing about all of these that you're looking at, with the exception of like 2 or 3 flavors, is they're all vegan, and then all of them are gluten-free. I get a lot of people that want to enjoy sweets, and maybe they can't because of those things. And here you go, you can enjoy all of these, the mochi ones and the crispy cracker ones. So I am going to eat one of these. Okay, cool. It's very unassuming. That's really good. That's really loud. Holy crap. And they are like super soft. And I will say for the most part, when I show people Yatsuhashi, especially if they've only had like a few other mochis, maybe they're not even confident that they like mochi. If I make them try these, they typically like them. So even kids, like strawberry flavor, yeah, it's good.
The third souvenir is spices.
Spices!
Are you a spicy fella? If you like to cook, Kyoto-style seasonings are honestly some of the best souvenirs you can bring home.
Very true.
They're small, they're light, they're easy to pack, and you'll actually keep using them long after the trip. The first one that we have is shichimi togarashi. It's a Japanese 7-spice blend. People usually sprinkle it on udon, soba, or hot pot, but it's great on pretty much anything. Eggs, grilled meat, soup, rice, and even roasted veggies.
I'll have to grill chicken and put it on there. It's really good. If you're around Kiyomizu Temple, Shichimiya Honpo is a super well-known spot for Kyoto shichimi. But shichimi is, it's more fragrant than just like burn your mouth spicy. So even though it's got a little spice, a little kick to it, it does add a ton of flavor without overpowering your food. And then another classic, which is this one right here, is Hara Ryokaku's Kuro Shichimi, which is the black version. Kuro is black. So it has this like deeper, slightly roasted vibe compared to regular shichimi. It works really well with both Japanese food and more Western style dishes. So the nice thing is these kinds of seasonings that we're introducing, they can be hard to find back home. So it feels more special than just buying some random bottle of chili powder.
One quick heads up though, sansho pepper can surprise you if you've never had it.
Yes, or even if you've had it, it will still surprise you.
Yeah, sometimes it comes out of nowhere and just like bops you on the
Sansho!
face. It has a citrusy aroma and it can give your tongue a little tingly, slightly numbing feeling.
Yeah.
It's delicious, especially in udon.
So if you're curious about any of these spices, I would recommend starting with a smaller container. Don't go back with, the entire Costco-sized box. But a lot of them are really cute. I mean, this is like the cutest little spice thing ever. So it's just a nice thing because many of you complain to me that you've had to buy like 4 new suitcases and you're running desperately out of space. Do you think we can like rent something on a boat to take back our stuff? So this will not take up space. You're welcome. Number 4 is something I talked about in my other souvenir video, and that would be a Kuoe watch. So if you want a souvenir that's a bit more of a splurge, something that you'll still hopefully be using years from now, Kyoto actually has its own watch brand called Kuoe. So Kuoe started in Kyoto, and their whole vibe is vintage inspired with relatively small case sizes. So if you've ever tried on modern watches and thought like, why is everything massive and sporty, Kuoe was more wearable and a little more traditional. So one thing to note up front is that Kuoe does not make its own mechanical movements. Depending on the model, they use movements made by companies connected to Seiko or by Citizen Miyota. But honestly, that's not automatically a bad thing because plenty of good watches do this. But if you really care about the mechanics, don't choose only based on looks. Just take a quick look at what movement's actually inside. But personally, I think Kuoe is the most compelling in their lower to mid part of the lineup, where it still feels like a special Kyoto souvenir without jumping into serious luxury watch prices. It can also be a really nice option if you're shopping as a couple, but once you get into the higher price range of Kuoe, I'd start comparing it with more established Japanese brands like Seiko, Orient, especially if things like servicing, resale value, or like the movement tech matter to you. And I treat Kuoe more like a Kyoto memory you can wear purchase than a pure specs per dollar decision. Practical tip, the Kyoto store can get pretty busy, so give yourself time. Don't try to like squeeze it into a super tight itinerary.
All right, and the 5th souvenir we're going to talk about is so a lot of people think about buying a kimono or yukata as a souvenir, and it can be amazing, but this is a quick reality check. A kimono usually isn't something you can just throw on right after you buy the main piece.
Nope. You're gonna need a lot of stuff under it. You're gonna need an obi belt, you're gonna need underlayers, you're gonna need cords, tabi socks, sandals, and honestly quite a bit of know-how to put it on. I have both kimono and yukata. Yukata is kind of the lighter, summery version, which has less layers and less items needed, and that still required multiple YouTube videos and an immense amount of patience to help me when I put one on for the first time.
And if your kimono is silk, you also have to store it carefully and take care of it. You can't just shove it in the closet. And so if you already wear a kimono or you're really and truly planning to learn, buying one can be really meaningful. But if you do want to buy a kimono in Kyoto, you've basically got 3 routes.
Modern boutiques with trendier pieces, and then more traditional shops, sometimes using maybe like Kyoto's famous Nishijin textiles, or secondhand stores where you can find great deals. They're gonna be more classic, and they're also gonna be a little bit hit or miss. And then also do consider sizing because it is not one size fits all. They come in different lengths, basically. And then also do check with staff what other things you need to get, such as what I mentioned earlier. Please don't just buy a kimono and tie a belt around it and call it a day. Japanese people are generally very happy to share their traditional wear with folks, as long as you respect it and wear it properly.
If you do want to shop for this kind of stuff in Kyoto, Teramachi and Shinkyogoku are great because you can browse a ton of fashion-y souvenir shops all in one walk without running all across the city. But for most travelers, I'd say renting a kimono in Kyoto and getting some great photos is the easiest way to have the experience without the long-term commitment. No worrying about sizing, how to put it on, accessories, etc. Even most Japanese people use rental shops who dress them up rather than putting on a kimono by themselves because it takes time and effort
and knowledge.
I
don't even know if the average Japanese person could put on a kimono by themselves anymore, unless they're like
not.
old posh Kyoto ladies. But if you do want something Japanese inspired that you can actually wear back home right away, I would look at a sukajan jacket. So if you've watched my souvenir video before, you know I've talked about sukajans. They're not originally from Kyoto, so it's not really a traditional Kyoto craft, but it is fun, it is wearable, and it is quite memorable. And a great spot for this is BSC Gallery in Teramachi. They have a massive selection, and I've already sent an insane amount of people to this shop already since it was in my souvenirs video. So enjoy. But with skajans, you'll see everything from dragons and tigers to koi and cherry blossoms and Mount Fuji and traditional artwork and even anime designs.
Souvenir number 6, folding fans. Kyoto is one of Japan's major centers for folding fan making. If you want to buy one, we especially like Hakuchikudo. Their main store in Kyoto has a huge selection, including store-exclusive designs, name engraving, and even fan painting experiences.
You'll also see plenty of folding fans in souvenir shops all around Higashiyama and the Kiyomizu-dera area. That said, it's worth being honest with yourself. Are you actually going to use your folding fan once you're back home? If you mainly just love how it works, a decorative fan meant for display might make more sense. And if your number one goal is just staying cool, maybe an electric handheld fan will work better in the peak of summer. But they do have a few big advantages. You don't need to charge this. It is very quiet. Sometimes those electric fans sound like a jet plane is going past you. And then you can discreetly use them then on the train or in public. And you can also look very dramatic like this, which I think is always amusing. And this is from the shop that we mentioned. I think this is stunning. I think she is so beautiful. And they really have a nice selection of both, I would say, more like traditional fans, like you think about cherry blossoms and whatever, and these kind of new, trendier with the young people fans, I would say. This one's actually fabric. I got this because I thought it was unique.
All right, and our next souvenir is going to be the Goshuincho.
Yes, indeed. So if you're spending a few days in Kyoto, you will probably be visiting a bunch of shrines and temples, especially if you join my tour, or even in Osaka if you join her tour. Hehe. But a Goshuincho can be one of the most personal souvenirs that you take home. So I want to show you my Goshuincho because I think it's really cool. So this is mine. I got this as a special. Don't tell me it's trying to autofocus on the Daruma face right now. Turn around, y'all. Turn around. This is my Goshuincho from Fushimi Inari Taisha. They did a limited time thing where they collaborated with an artist who made these really beautiful designs. So, as you might know, when you get a stamp, it looks something like this. And basically, at each shrine and temple you go to, you will get something like this, where they either handwrite it as calligraphy, or they'll just give you a little piece of paper that you can paste in. And each shrine and temple will have their own sort of designs to the stamp. One important thing to know is technically this is supposed to represent your spiritual journey as you go to different shrines and temples. So not only is that sort of your reminder to take this a little bit seriously, maybe, but also don't put the eki stamps in here. I see people mix them sometimes. Just get another book for that. 2 books. It's not that big of a deal.
And if you're planning on using Goshuincho, part of the fun can be actually choosing your book. And so you can get them at most temples and shrines, but you're going to have a very limited selection of designs there. So you can also get them at places like Hands and Loft. And those places will have all kinds of different designs, some cute ones, some classy ones. But you can also get them at the temple and shrine directly if you don't necessarily need to spend a lot of time choosing your design and thinking about which one you want. As you move along your trip, it becomes a really awesome visual representation of all of the places you've been. It's kind of like a diary almost.
That's true.
But if you're just planning to go to a few shrines and temples, you don't need to get a whole book. A great way to kind of commemorate your trip, as well as the Goshuin, is to get omamori from temples and shrines. They're very small and meaningful.
Omamori generally you will see look something like this. Mine is a circle, but oftentimes they're like little rectangle pouches. And omamori are little protective charms that are associated with good fortune over different things like health, safe travel, academic success, business, relationships. Really, almost anything you can think of, some shrine or temple has an omamori for. This is also one I got seasonally from a shrine in Kyoto called Seimei Shrine. So I'm going to show you because it's a cute example of how shrines will do like even seasonal omamori or for special events. So this is a special cherry blossom one that they had, and obviously I had to get my booty up there to get it because it is so cute. And when you get an omamori, I recommend putting it on like your purse if you're a child, on your backpack, or you can put it in your wallet and it will protect you. And it's a very unique sort of lucky charm that you can always remember your trip by, and it weighs next to nothing. And while you can buy cute little trinkets around shrines and temples, getting one of these specifically, I think feels a little more personal. And do remember that your omamori is technically a sacred item, which makes it extra special because it's not just a mass-produced keychain. Really cute, costs like 500 to 1,000 yen. Get it. Number 9 is Kyoto exclusive and Kyoto-designed goods.
If you're not super into traditional crafts, another easy souvenir category is Kyoto-designed goods from familiar brands. Think mugs, charms, and character merch. For example, Starbucks has a Kyoto design in their regional mug series. It's instantly recognizable and great for collectors.
Very cute.
Very cute. I like the Kyoto design a lot. Pandora sometimes has Kyoto-themed charms like pagodas or cherry blossoms. At Levi's Kyoto, you can customize pieces with embroidery and patches that are specific to that store. And Pokemon Center Kyoto also carries Kyoto-inspired items, often with traditional patterns or clothing. The lineup changes a lot, and older items that you've seen online are definitely not there anymore.
No, they're not.
They're gone.
If there's anything there in the first place, hopefully you have good stock when you get here. Thoughts and prayers.
Instead of like searching for one specific product, it's better to just go with whatever's labeled as Kyoto right now.
Yep. You'll also see Kyoto-themed Sanrio goods. Sanrio is huge right now in character stores and souvenir shops. And Nintendo Kyoto is another popular stop, but a lot of the merch overlaps with Nintendo stores in other cities. And lastly, the Nintendo Museum in Uji has its own museum merch too, but you need a museum ticket to get in there. Good luck getting that as well. The big takeaway here is that Kyoto exclusive, Kyoto design, Japan exclusive, and then sold in a Kyoto store are all very different things. So before you buy, check the tag or the label. All right, number 10 is something I wanted to throw in here because it's really cute, and that would be the Kyoto Railway Museum merch. So if you are traveling with kids who love trains, or maybe you love trains, that's okay, we love trains. I love trains. I don't know about you. Do you like trains?
Trains are great.
I think they're really cool. So the Kyoto Railway Museum is a surprisingly good place to shop for souvenirs. And one of the coolest little items is a bottle opener that is shaped like a real train brake handle. We love that. It is small, easy to pack, and it's way more interesting than some like boring standard keychain. We don't want boring. We want specifically train brake. I love that. So they also have plenty of other stuff in the shop, train toys, plushies, some more niche railway merch too. And a useful tip, the shop is outside the paid exhibition area. So depending on the day, you can probably pop in without buying a museum ticket. The lineup of everything changes. Next up is something that's kind of near and dear to my heart, and that would be ceramics. So if you want to bring home a traditional Kyoto craft, but you're worried about hacking a big bowl or a teapot, go for smaller pieces of Kuoe or Kiyomizu ware instead. So Kuoe, Kiyomizu ware, these labels cover a lot of different ceramic styles made by Kyoto workshops. There isn't one like official color or pattern you're supposed to look for, but for something affordable and easy to pack, I would check out chopstick rests, small plates, sake cups, incense holders, little miniature ornaments. And these things are great because you can usually also buy them one at a time. If you don't know where to start, the Kyoto Ceramic Center on Gojo-zaka is a solid first stop because it brings together pieces from multiple different kilns, multiple different artists. I actually got a plate from there the other day. I am deeply in love with this. I spent honestly probably like an hour just walking around the store, looking at everything they had. And it is all so stunning, so beautiful. Honestly, while they have a lot of pieces that are expensive, as they should be, it's art, they also have a lot of things that are quite affordable. So also don't feel like you need to, spend thousands of dollars just to get some pretty stuff. Going to this place, I think, is a much easier way to compare real Kyoto ceramics than just grabbing the first, touristy plate that you see, which may or may not have even been made in Japan. Practical tip, ask for proper packaging. They do package up everything very well. I got rid of it, but this was like double bubble wrapped and then covered in paper. So honestly, I think if I was going on a plane and I had put this in there, I honestly think it would have been fine, especially if you kind of double pad, put clothing around stuff. When I first came to Japan, as a student, I took a ceramics class. I literally made so many ceramics. Just ceramics on ceramics on ceramics. And all of them went in my suitcase. And yes, my suitcase was heavy, but every single thing made it home because I just put them in socks. I put underwear around everything. I put clothes, put some bubble wrap. It was all okay. Especially if you bring it in your carry-on, you're responsible for it. I think it'll be fine. So don't be too worried about stuff, but if you are worried, get the smaller things I mentioned.
Souvenir number 12, Kyoto chopsticks. You can find pretty chopsticks with cherry blossoms or Mount Fuji designs all over Japan. But if you want a pair that feels more specifically Kyoto, I recommend Ichihara Heibei Shoten near Shijo Karasuma. It's a historic chopstick specialty shop, and they have hundreds of options for everyday eating, cooking, serving, and even tea kaiseki cuisine. And what's cool is that it's not just about the pattern, the shape, the balance, material, and how fine the tips are can actually change how the chopsticks feel in your hand and how easily you can pick up small pieces of food. I've had a lot of people on my tours ask me about my opinion on chopsticks recently.
Yeah?
I was almost surprised by myself by how many opinions I had.
How many opinions do you have?
I have lots of opinions. If you're eating this, you want this kind of grippy chopstick, but if you're not eating, especially with noodles.
Oh, noodles. Noodles need a special grippy chopstick.
Yes.
Otherwise, you will look a fool. That's true. It's really not one size fits all with chopsticks.
So think about the hand feel. Think about what you're going to be using them for. Are you using them or are you just displaying them? All kinds of stuff like that. This shop is especially fun if you already use chopsticks a lot and you appreciate well-designed everyday tools.
But if you only use chopsticks once in a while, please don't spend hundreds of dollars on a high-end specialist pair. There's also absolutely nothing wrong with choosing a more affordable set just because you like the design. I think most people in Japan probably have their daily use chopsticks, their bento chopsticks. People get fun stuff too. So you don't have to feel like you need fancy chopsticks. Unless you want them, in which case, get them. I don't want to hear a single comment about what my voice sounds like, by the way. I don't want a single comment about it. Do not comment about it. Do not comment about it. All right. Number 13 is Kyoto knives and kitchen tools. If you love cooking, a good knife can be one of those souvenirs you will actually use for years. That said, Kyoto isn't really a big knife making hub in the way Sakai or Seki are. What Kyoto is known for is its long-running knife and kitchen tool shops tied to Kyoto cuisine. So most famous would be Aritsugu in Nishijin Market, which actually opened as a swordsmith in the 1500s, and they eventually evolved into selling knives when times became more peaceful. They sell knives, copper cookware, graters, cutters, sharpening stones. Basically, just the whole store is just dangerous but beautiful things. And if you're looking for one all-purpose knife for home, just tell the staff what you normally cook. You're right or left-handed, how comfortable you are with sharpening stuff and cleaning stuff every day. But if you don't want to commit to a knife, they also have other small tools that can be really fun. And I couldn't film inside the store, so you just have to use your imagination. Another great stop is Kikuichi Monji. They also trace their history way back, all the way to Emperor Go-Toba, who they actually produce swords for. So actually when you look into some of these shops, it's literally a rabbit hole of this really fascinating how they evolved for making swords to protect the city. And now they make knives that you can buy. I think it's pretty sick. Along with knives, they also carry things like cooking scissors, sewing scissors, gardening tools, even nail clippers. You don't want to spend money on a serious chef knife, you can get special nail clippers. One quick note, just because a shop is historic in Kyoto does not automatically mean every item was made in Kyoto. So if the origin matters to you, just ask. And lastly, remember that knives and scissors need to go typically in checked luggage. Please do not end up in the news. Thank you very much.
Number 14, Kyoto-style accessories and everyday goods. If you want affordable accessories that don't take up too much space, check out Karankoron Kyoto, Irakuya, and Soso. Karankoron has modern Japanese style stuff like clasp purses, handkerchiefs, pouches, and keychains. They've got shops in super convenient areas, including Kyoto Station.
One fun thing to look for is apparently they have a clasp purse made from the same kind of fabric used on the Shinkansen seats. I went to the location by Kawaramachi and they did not have this, although they had a bunch of other really cool stuff. If you find this, good.
But wait, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Is it used seat fabric?
How many booties have been on your purse?
I don't want to think about it.
I hope they wash it.
Just made me think of that.
Other things you can buy would be tenugui and furoshiki, which are kind of like thin cloth towels. So I also got one from the same store I got my fan from, just to show you what they look like. I got this one because it was a special Gion Festival themed towel, and these are really popular in summer as well because they're very thin, they dry very easily. And people would just literally like put it around their neck, tie it around their head, whatever. Especially at festivals when it's hot and you're sweaty. Everybody has one of these. A special little Gion Festival. But there's another store called Eirakuya, which is a great pick. And they have literally everything. Designs. Never seen more designs in my life. Enjoy this B-roll of what they have.
If you want something more colorful and modern, swing by Soso.
So.
They sell tabi-style socks, bags, clothing, shoes, and accessories inspired by traditional Japanese shapes. Tabi socks are especially easy. They're light, pack small, and make simple gifts. And they're also kind of fun. You can't really find them as often in other countries, and the little one toe is entertaining for people.
It is.
Soso is a Kyoto-born brand that makes super bold, modern Japanese pattern designs, so it's a great place to grab something that feels distinctly Kyoto, but still looks cool and wearable in everyday life.
This is what I got from Soso. They have so many things, and they have so many different little stores that you go in, and they each have kind of different styles of stuff, like the socks and the shoes store, the towel store, the clothing store, and there's a lot of Japanese people inside as well, because it's seen as a very popular souvenir to get even for Japanese people is stuff from Soso. Fun fact, Soso is kind of something you say like when you're agreeing with people in Japanese, like so, yeah. And that's actually why they chose it, because they liked the sense of kind of like we're all kind of coming together as people and like having community and engaging and sharing things. So I think it's really cute. You get this pretty little towel. Oh, it gets even bigger. Pretty little towel. And this is also a really nice thing to get because, as you probably are aware, a lot of places in Japan don't have hand dryers. So if you just keep a little cloth in your bag, it's a nice gift that's usable and you can take it home.
Nishijin textile accessories are the number 15 souvenir. Nishijin textiles are one of Kyoto's most famous traditional crafts. A full kimono or obi can get really expensive, but small Nishijin items are much more approachable. You'll see things like wallets, card holders, pouches, glasses cases, neckties, and small formal bags. It's a nice way to enjoy those intricate woven patterns without having to learn how to wear an entire whole kimono. Just keep in mind, Nishijin style isn't always the same as the real thing, so don't be fooled. Do not let them fool you. If authenticity matters to you, check the label, the maker, and the product details. For Nishijin accessories, you'll see them at higher quality craft and souvenir shops around central Kyoto, and you can usually confirm it's legit by checking the label and maker info in store.
So the most important thing is not to buy something only because it looks Japanese. Before purchasing it, ask yourself whether you will actually eat it, drink it, use it, wear it, or display it after returning home. Even an inexpensive product can become meaningful when it's connected to a specific place, experience, or memory. So choose something that will remind you of your own time in Kyoto rather than simply buying the first object with the word Japan printed on it. That's our take. Hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments what you want to buy or do in Kyoto. And we will see you in the next video, hopefully when I sound a little better than this. That's it. Bye.
Bye.